I have a lot of corks at my house because my house is used for functions. So we
Yeah.
always have parties,
Yep.
and we always have corks. So I also like to make cool, different decor. And you can either do fall decor, or where we're transitioning to the holidays, we can do that as well. So over here, as you can see, we did pumpkins.
Yes.
And these are really stylish and cool.
That
and
is so cool.
Of course, you need your corks. And
Yes.
if you don't drink, it's okay. You can go to your craft store and they sell
Have
corks.
them, yeah, all together, yeah.
Yeah. So that one, when we create it, you just lay it out on a table and you hot glue each of the corks together.
Yeah.
I did one as a stem, and and then you take acrylic paint, which is easy to apply. And you
Yep.
paint that, let it dry for about an hour, and then accessorize it with different types of leaves. And you can stand them up, or you can
Yeah.
put them at an angle.
And just make it so, oh, I love that. That
And
is just the neatest thing.
And the key thing is mix it with your real pumpkins and gourds,
Yeah.
and I think that adds a lot to it. And
Absolutely.
now that we're going to the holidays, this is my favorite.
I know, mine too.
This is, of course, a snowman, and if you can take a close look at it, the eyes are river rock that we painted black, so like coal. This is
Easy.
a black piece of rope, a pine cone I painted orange, and then what I really love is the hat. It's hard to tell probably on the camera, but this is just a little 2-inch pot.
Pot. That's
It's just
so
a
cute.
plastic pot that I painted black and turned it upside down, and then of course did the raffia around it, and then did the acrylic paint, of course, white. And then I took the artificial snow,
Yeah.
and while the acrylic paint is still wet, that's
Yeah.
when you apply that
Sprinkle
so it
it,
sticks.
yeah.
And you got yourself a little snowman.
I love that.
Again, I like to stack them on books,
Yes.
add a few other Christmas accessories to it, and it works really well.
That is so cute, and it's just so inexpensive too. Like just little bitty items that you like. I mean, the pot and then like the pine cone rocks. I mean, those are free. You know.
I mean, you can find anything, and this is also a great project for kids. You know, pretty soon
Absolutely.
they're going to be out for the holidays,
Yes.
so it's a great craft for them. And I started creating a
Yeah,
Christmas tree.
I love that.
I mean, it's endless possibilities what you can make. That's the cool thing.
Yeah.
And so I started hot gluing them, and you can see it's so simple. You just put a dab of hot glue.
Be careful with the hot glue.
I don't know how I did that last, 2 weeks ago, but it really hurt.
Just passionate.
Keep stacking it up, and then once I finish, I did, of course, this actually will stand, believe it or not.
Oh, look at that.
So
yeah.
it's so balanced. And then I'll probably go ahead and use acrylic paint to do it green.
Yep.
And I'm probably going to do kind of a light apple green.
Oh yeah.
And then you can take your little ornaments,
And just
take off the tops, and you can glue those on there if you want. It's just unlimited possibilities. It's all up to you how you want to create
That just
your
makes
own.
me so excited.
We have sticks on fire over a wood table.
We didn't think that one through. Chris H. Olsen, hey, last minute gift ideas. What are we talking about? Really not last minute, but for
These are
Thanksgiving it is.
customized wine glasses, and majority of people we know as adults drink wine. So this is a really easy, fun project that you can do at home, and there's different ways to do it. You can get your little deco pen and that type of thing, and what I normally do is I'll print out on my computer some type of words. Now, the shorter the phrase, the easier this project is.
Yeah, and the less wine you drink beforehand, the easier it
That's
is.
right, and then you're gonna get non-stick tape, which you can buy at a craft store, and you tape it on the inside of the glass, and then you can write and trace the words. Okay? Now, once you do that, it's all about how you accessorize it. Look how beautiful this glass is.
It's a Missouri Tiger.
Yeah,
That's
so I take acrylic paint, and I painted a design on it and did a black swirl on the stem, and then, of course, I did a saying, and then I took a Q-tip, and that's how you dab on your dots.
Oh my God, that's so
okay.
cute.
Now, once you do that, you want to take a clear enamel, which you paint over it. Okay, and it comes just like your acrylic paints in a small little container like that. Now, the first thing, though, I have to tell you is before you put and paint your glasses, you want to make sure you clean them with rubbing alcohol first.
Right.
That's the most important thing, because if it's not clean, it's not going to stick. Now, once you do this, you have to bake these. That hardens
okay.
it and allows you to wash it. So you put it into a cold oven, and then you let it heat up to 350 degrees for 30 minutes.
Okay.
Then you turn it off and you let it cool down in the oven. Then take it out and it becomes cured onto the glass. So you can do it that way. And then another way to do it is like this one. I took my Q-tip, did a million different dots, and then I just took a little X-Acto knife and cut out my word. And you can't see that, so I'm gonna pour some wine in there. And
that's a lot of wine,
I
brother.
don't have enough.
Just turn it sideways, you'll be fine.
There you go. And if you can kind of see it, you can read cheers.
Let's see. And if you can't read it, you need more.
Well, we'll drink it. And don't forget, you can turn them upside down and make a tablescape with candles. And at the end of the party, that people can go ahead and take their wine glass
Take the
as
glasses
a
with you.
gift.
That is awesome. That's
So
a
there you
beautiful
go.
idea. So the key is printing that off on a printer and taping it to the inside.
Yes, and baking it when you're done.
Baking it.
Got to do that.
Great advice. Beautiful, beautiful wine glasses. Great gifts as well.
Yeah, it's
Chris-
an inexpensive gift. Go to the dollar store. All right, Adam, let's put these over here. These are a little bit heavy.
Chris, you're putting me to work. Am I on the payroll?
Yes, use the knees.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's all about the front door, and we want to talk about that right now. Chris H. Olsen, Botanical Gardens. Tell us how to make our front door, our entryway, beautiful like this one.
Well, you know, Thanksgiving's coming up, but you had the Halloween decorations out, but now we need to go make sure we stick with just fall. So this is what you can do. Now, it doesn't matter the size of your home. You can do big or small. This is just a metal cage. Now, you can take a tomato cage, tie the top, turn it upside down, paint it black, and it still works. And all you do is take contorted willow, which you can get at a florist, intertwine it in so it gives it that really natural look, and then you shove and cram it full of pumpkins. This time, I did nice topiary pumpkins, just layered them by size, and it looks really cool. And at the bottom of the pot, fill it up with more pumpkins.
And gourds, I see gourds. So when do you bring out the pumpkins, and how long will they last?
Well, I start early. I start usually in September, but a lot of us wait until usually October because the cooler temperature means that our pumpkins won't rot usually when it's cooler nights. So usually the beginning of October, and then they last all the way through Thanksgiving. And remember this, that's why I always buy a couple extra pumpkins, because sometimes they are a produce, so some of them could rot. That's okay, you pluck them out, you have extra pumpkins, you put them back in place.
Okay. Is there anything you can do to help preserve them, or is it just nature?
Well, there is. What I usually do is I take bleach and water. So I do just like maybe a gallon of water and a couple tablespoons of bleach, and I wash the pumpkins with that. That not only cleans them, but if there's any cuts and bruises, it disinfects them, and usually they won't have any type of infection.
Okay, so eventually they are going to turn into compost. What do you do with your stuff?
You know what I do? I have to switch over to Christmas early. So I get rid of mine and I donate them, since I have so many of them, to the pig farms. Because pigs like them. Or throw them in a compost pile or an empty field nearby, and they usually root out and produce fruit for next year.
I noticed you don't have anything on your door, like any big wreaths or anything.
don't.
Tell me your thoughts on that.
I don't know why I don't. Maybe because I'm a guy and I just don't do it. I don't know. Maybe I'm lazy.
Yeah.
But mine's too hard because of the glass doors in front of the front doors. But I do like wreaths, and I do use fall wreaths inside on my windows.
I'm curious what to do because we work so hard this summer to get the plants beautiful and in the ground, and what do we do to keep them alive now?
Well, the first thing is bring in your sensitive plants, and that is plants you got to know what are sensitive. Usually tropical plants are your most sensitive plants. So I brought some crotons and bromeliads. Anything tropical, palms, something like that, you want to bring inside. Now you can put them in a garage. It doesn't have to be like a real heated source, as long as they're protected from the bitter night cold temperatures. So inside a garage, as long as they have a window, usually that will work as well. Or just throw them away and start all over again. You know I like that.
Yeah.
You know I like that. Okay, then also layer of mulch. Your potted plants or your plants in the ground and stuff, if you mulch them with any type of thing, it can be a whole bunch of leaves, it can be grass clippings, it can be bark and that type of thing. If you put 3 to 4 inches of mulch around the base of the plant, that really does help protect the root system because you don't want the roots to freeze. That's what causes the most damage. So you want to do that, and then cover. If you're going to have a frost coming up, this week we may have a frost, next week probably for sure. There's so many different things to cover plants. You can use a sheet. You want to use something that's light in material, preferably not a regular plastic sheet of plastic because
breathe,
that
right?
sticks. Yeah. Now, I like a tablecloth. Even though it's plastic on the top, it's usually insulated and protected on the bottom, and that helps hold the heat in, which is what you want to do. You want to keep the temperature above freezing. Now, eventually, you may lose the battle because if we go down to 25, it's still probably going to go below 32 underneath this. So be careful with that. You could build a cold frame. Build a little structure, a little greenhouse over some of your sensitive plants if you want to do that. Water is very important.
That's so tricky. But why
that.
would you want to water when it's going to freeze and it's going to kill it?
Because if a plant has a moist root system, that helps insulate and protect it from the cold. If it is dry, like if you have a pot outside and it's dry, you didn't water it, that plant's more likely the roots are going to burn. So you always want to water before a cold night. It's always preferably. Now in the ground with all the rain, we're okay. It's your pots you want to watch out for. So make sure you watch that. Heat source. Feel how warm this is.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
have if you have non-LED Christmas lights or something like that.
Yeah, this
those
is
are
not
wrong.
LED. Yeah, you don't want to use LED.
LEDs don't create heat at all.
Yeah, but these are regular miniature Christmas lights, and you could just take a bunch of these, plug them in, and put them around the root ball or around a pot outside.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, or cover the plant. Like if we got really cold and you had some like certain plants that usually survive the winter but may not, you can cover it in Christmas lights, and that helps protect it as well. So I use this all the time. And then don't forget about plant selection. That's probably the #1 thing to do. Read your tags and make sure you know it's winter hardy. And that will help a lot. So these are what we call our hemijang plant line. They aren't mixing it up. If you notice, all these are beautiful, different, colorful plants with textures, but they're all winter hardy. So we use these as our seasonal color for the winter time. So if you use the right plant selection, you don't even have to worry about the cold temperatures.
Great advice. Water during the winter. Who knew?
We're here at Botanica Gardens, and I'm going to answer a question that I get asked all the time. How do you grow houseplants, and what's your favorite houseplant? That's probably my #1 email. Houseplants do benefit us greatly because one, they bring a smile to your face because you have something live and green in the house. And #2, they do help purify the air. A lot of us have heard this, some have doubted it, but it is true. Think about how many toxins we have in the air in our homes. We have our paint fumes, we have the glue that holds our furniture together, etc. And these are still in the air. And plants that produce clean oxygen also not only produce the clean oxygen, but absorb the toxins. Now there's so many different house plants to use indoors. The problem is if you have a real dark area, that's where you can run into issues. But things like the Chinese evergreen, one of my favorite plants because you can grow it basically in a dark closet. Also, the Dracena marginata is another easy one. And the old-time favorite is the pothos plant because it grows like a vine. There's the marble variety, there's the neon green variety. Those are easy if you want something trilling. Now, when it comes to houseplants, most houseplants prefer indirect bright areas. That is not a full sun type of condition. So if you have them in a south window or a west window, they're probably going to burn. But there's still houseplants to grow in sunny areas like ficuses. They love bright light. Speaking of ficuses, a lot of people have issues with those. We have the fiddle leaf fig, which is the #1 houseplant right now. But when you bring it home, you notice it might defoliate. And that's because ficuses are very temperamental. If they're moved from one spot to another spot, they're gonna drop their leaves. Not all of them, but some of them. So don't be alarmed. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But if your houseplant starts looking pretty poor, then here's what you can do. You can put it outside during the warm season in a shady area, and usually they rebound out. Now, I water my houseplants once a week. Sunday is my chore day. So Sunday morning, I water all my houseplants. Some of them I give just a very little bit of water. Some of them dry out during the week. I give them more water. So you have to check them. We do have what's called a moisture meter, which tells you if they're moist or they're dry. That might help you out a little bit. If you cluster your houseplants together in a group, you can have a nice live and flow arrangement. Now remember, houseplants don't always live forever indoors because it's not their perfect environment. They like humidity. So if it starts to look poor, I throw mine away or I give them away and I put something new in there and it looks beautiful and fresh. So adds a smile to your life by having indoor houseplants.